Hello everybody, welcome back. Bam Deadstroke here for a very quick deck tech video. It is going to be based around the card from my last versus match. That's right, the Scarab God. We are going over my commander deck based around the Scarab God. Totally all legit cards, by the way. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's okay, I only use this for casual games. My friends are totally okay with it. I got the thumbs up. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into the lands really quick. It is currently 5 in the morning and I am extremely tired. So we've got 10 islands. Just 10 of your basic blue mana. 15 swamps. Your generic black mana. Running a few dual lands. Dimir Aqueduct is the bounce land. Dimir Guildgate, Dismal Backwater, Drowned Catacombs, Submerged Boneyard, and Temple of Deceit. As some duals, Command Tower, taps for blue or black, so pretty much a dual land. Temple of the False God, mana accelerant once you get to 5 lands. Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. Westvale Abbey, good for like tokens and stuff, so good for this deck when we get a bunch of creatures out. And then just a couple of the common fetch lands, as I like to call them, fetch lands. No polluted deltas, no watery graves, none of that. So we're gonna go from least amount to most amount. So we'll start off with the instants. There are 2 of them in the deck. Weird for a blue deck, I know, but just 2. Forbidden Alchemy, 2 and a blue for an instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and rest in your graveyard, and it flashes back for 6 and a black. And we also have Empty the Pits, one of my favorite cards from Khans of Tarkir. XX, black, Delve, so you can exile cards from your graveyard to cast it. Put X, 2/2 black zombie creature tokens on the battlefield tapped. Great at instant speed, always thought it was a sorcery, even better at instant speed. Also 2 Planeswalkers, Liliana the Last Hope and Liliana of the Dark Realms. Last Hope, extensive play in Standard. 3 mana Planeswalkers, typically pretty good. This one with the emblem holding up to that reputation. Liliana of the Dark Realms, good mana ramp, I guess, if you can get it out. Being able to search for a swamp to put into your hand in case you're short. Good removal or a creature buff for the -3. Oh, excuse me. And the emblem where your swamps tap to add black is really good. So just the 2 Planeswalkers. Next we'll have enchantments. 1 mana Graph Harvest. Zombies get menace, and I can tap 4, exile a creature card from my graveyard and put a 2/2 zombie into play. Heartless Summonings, 2 mana enchantment. Creature spells I cast cost 2 less to cast, but creatures I control get -1/-1. Necromancer Stockpile, 2 mana enchantment. I can tap 2 and discard a creature card and draw a card. And if the creature card that I discarded was a zombie, I get a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Phyrexian Arena, 1 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and lose life. Really good card advantage for black. Secrets of the Dead, 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, draw a card. Goes really well with the zombie reanimate sort of idea. Endless Ranks of the Dead, 2 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X, 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is half the number of zombies you control rounded down. Whip of Erebos, 2 black for a legendary enchantment artifact. Creatures I control have lifelink, and I can tap 4 and tap it. To return target creature card from graveyard to the battlefield, it gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else, activate it only as a sorcery. Liliana's Mastery, 5 mana enchantment, zombies get +1/+1, and it creates 2/2 zombies when it comes into play. Xenographed, choose zombies in this case, and each creature I control is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Rooftop Storm lets me cast my zombies for free. It's 6 mana enchantment. And finally Grave Betrayal, Whenever a creature whenever a creature I don't control dies, return it to the battlefield under my control with a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step, and it's also a black zombie in addition to its other types. Next we will move on to artifacts. Soul Ring goes in every commander deck. 1 mana, tapped, add 2 to your mana pool. Talisman of Dominance is the blue-black talisman. It's essentially a pain land for 2. Thought Vessel, no maximum hand size. Tapped, add 1 to your mana pool for 2 mana. Command Sphere, it's essentially command tower, so it taps to add blue or black, and then I can sacrifice it to draw a card. Mirage Mirror, a new card from Hour of Devastation. 3 mana artifact. I can tap 2 and it becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land till end of turn. Urza's Incubator makes my zombies cost 2 less to cast, which is really nice. So it's kind of an alternate mana accelerant. Grimoire of the Dead is a 4 mana enchantment, 4 mana legendary artifact. Tap 1 and tap it to discard a card and put a study counter on it. And then I can tap it to remove 3 study counters from it and sacrifice it to put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under my control, and they are also black zombies in addition to their other types. And the last artifact is Obelisk of Erd with Convoke for 6 mana. It enters the battlefield, choose, in this case, zombies, and creatures that I control that are zombies get +2/+2. Next up, we'll go to the sorceries. Hour of Eternity, also a new card from Hour of Devastation. XX, blue. Exile X target creature cards from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, put a creature token onto the battlefield that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So you could exile, for instance, not in this deck, but you could exile a Selfless Spirit that I randomly have lying around, and it would become a 4/4. So, pretty sweet. Victimize, choose 2 creature cards in my graveyard, sacrifice a creature, and if I do, return those cards to the battlefield tapped, so really good for the whole reanimator thing. Beacon of Unrest is 5 mana for a sorcery. Put target artifact or creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under my control, and I get to shuffle this back into my library, so recursion as well as recursion. Dark Petition, one of my favorite cards from Magic Origins. 5 mana, search library for a card, put it into your hand, shuffle your library, and if you have Spell Mastery, which is 2 or more instants or sorceries in my graveyard, I get to add 3 black to my mana pool. Extract from Darkness, 3 blue-black for a sorcery. Each player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, then I get to put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under my control. Living Death. You saw me cast this in the Commander game. 3 black. Each player, exiles all creature cards from his or her graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts all cards he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. So essentially you get back all of the creatures that are in your own graveyard, and you sacrifice all the creatures that you currently control. Increasing Ambition, 4 and a black. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand. If it was cast from your graveyard instead, you get to search for 2 cards. Has flashback for 7 and a black. Zombie Apocalypse, 3 black for a sorcery. Return all zombie creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, then destroy all humans. Just an upside to a great spell. Ever After, 4 black, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, and each of them is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types, and you get to put Ever After back on the bottom of your library, so you get to keep getting it back. Behold the Beyond. This one was not actually from the list that I found. I decided to add it because who doesn't love discarding your hand to search your library for 3 cards and putting those cards in your hand, then shuffling your library in a zombie deck. Upside. Army of the Damned. Dylan decided to be a jerk and make me shuffle this back into my library from my graveyard. Otherwise I would have had 13 more 2/2 black zombie tokens. 8 mana sorcery, put 13 2/2 black zombie creature tokens on the battlefield tapped. Really wish it was an instant, but you know, that being instant speed would be way too good, so. In Garrick's Wake, destroy all creatures and planeswalkers I don't control. Pretty good. and Rise of the Dark Realms. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. So you can kind of see what the deck is trying to do. It's trying to get a bunch of stuff in the graveyard, and then it's trying to bring all of that stuff back and make it bigger and more zombier. And so finally, for a commander deck, you need some creatures. So let's jump right into those. Crypt Breaker, 1 mana, 1/1, tap 2 and tap it to discard a card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, and you can tap 3 untapped zombies to lose life and draw a card. Sweet card. Relentless Dead, 2 mana for a 2/2 zombie with menace. When it dies, you can pay a black to return it to your hand, or when it dies, you may pay X if you do return another target zombie creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. So again, kind of that recursion sort of thing. Shepherd of Rot, 2 mana for a 1/1 that you can tap. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie on the battlefield. Geralf's Messenger, it's a 3 mana 3/2, enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life, and it has Undying. So it comes, if it would die with no 1/1 counters on it, you just return it to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. Cemetery Reaper, a 3 mana zombie lord, where I can tap 3 and tap it to exile a creature card from any graveyard and get a 2/2 zombie. Diregraph Captain, 3 mana 2/2 with Death Touch. When other zombies get +1/+1, and whenever another zombie I control dies, target opponent loses a life. Lich Lord of Unks, 3 mana 2/2. I can tap blue-black and tap it to put a 1/1 blue and black zombie wizard token into play, and I can tap blue-blue black-black to make target player lose X life and put the top X cards of his or her library into the graveyard, where X is the number of zombies I control. Liliana, Heretical Healer, 3 mana 2/3 with lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it and return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, transformed with a 2/2 black zombie token. And I will quickly show you the back side. Liliana, Defiant Necromancer, starts at 3 loyalty +2. Each player discards a card -X. Return target non-legendary creature with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. And -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, return to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So, pretty good for this deck. Lord of the Undead, 3 mana zombie lord. I can tap 2 and tap it to return target zombie card from graveyard to hand. Prized Amalgam, 3 mana 3/3. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it entered from the graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, return Prized Amalgam from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped at the beginning of the next end step. Champion of Wits, 3 mana 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards. So essentially you play it, you draw 2, discard 2, and then you eternalize it to draw 4, discard 2. Really good card advantage. Diregraph Colossus, 3 mana 2/2, and enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each zombie card in your graveyard. And whenever you cast a zombie spell, you get to put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. Lord of the Accursed, another zombie lord. Tap 2 and tap it, all zombies gain menace till end of turn. Unbreathing Horde is a 3 mana 0/0 that enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other zombie you control and each other zombie card in your graveyard. And if it would be dealt damage, prevent that damage and remove a 1/1 counter from it. Gissa and Geralf, 4 mana 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you mill 4. And during each of my turns, I may cast a zombie creature card from my graveyard. Foil Kalitas, not that the foil adds anything, just pretty. Look at that. It's so pretty. Anyway, not a zombie by himself, but he makes zombies. He's a 4 mana 3/4 with lifelink. And if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. And I can tap 3 to sacrifice another vampire zombie to put 2 1/1 counters on him. Liliana's Reaver, 4 mana 4/3 with Death Touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card, and I get a 2/2 zombie creature token tapped. Undead Warchief, a really big zombie lord. 4 mana 1/1. Zombies cost 1 less to cast, and they get +2/+1 if I control them. Solemn Simulacrum, sad robot. Enters the battlefield, I get to search for land, and when it dies, I get to draw a card. 4 mana 2/2. Ghoul Caller Gissa, 5 mana 3/4. Tap a black and tap her to sacrifice another creature to put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens on the battlefield, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Gary, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, 5 mana 2/4. But when he enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life lost. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So if I have 10 devotion, and I'm playing a 4-person commander, my opponents lose a total of 30 life, so I gain 30 life, which is pretty nice. Possessed Scab, 5 mana 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, return target instant sorcery or creature card from graveyard to your hand, but if it would die, exile it instead. Dragonlord Silmgar, again, not a zombie at all, just kind of in here because I like the Elder Dragons. 6 mana 3/5 flying with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature or planeswalker for as long as you control him. Grave Titan, 6 mana 6/6 with Death Touch. And when it enters the battlefield or attacks, I get 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Newsgraph Mob is a 6 mana 0/0 that enters with 5 1/1 counters on it. And whenever any player casts a spell, I get to remove a 1/1 counter from it. And if I did, I get to put a 2/2 zombie creature token into play. And finally, a pre-release promo of Razaketh the Foul-Blooded, the 8 mana 8/8 flying trampler from Hour of Devastation. Pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card, and put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. Instant speed tutors are pretty good. And finally, I will go over the Scarab God one more time, since I didn't at the beginning. Scarab God is a 5 mana 5/5 god from Hour of Devastation. At the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent loses X life, and I scry X, where X is the number of zombies I control. And then I can tap 2 blue-black to exile target creature card from any graveyard, and I get a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. And when the Scarab God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step, which is really nice. That way it avoids the commander tax. So I really like these gods for commander. Kind of wish they had indestructible, but this ability avoids the commander tax and stuff, so it's also pretty nice for that. So that is the Scarab God commander deck that I played in the last Versus video. I have one other commander deck that I will be doing a deck tech for very soon, so be on the lookout for that. I should be recording the gameplay for that also very soon. I'll give you a hint. It's Unesh. It's also really fun to play. But my opponents don't seem to be having fun playing against it. So if you guys like mono blue and you like your opponents not having fun, you should be excited for that. So that is going to do it for this episode, or this deck tech, I guess. Not really an episode. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. It's one of the best ways to support this channel. Just by clicking that like button. Just boop. That's all you gotta do. Just click it. That's all you gotta do. That'll be down below. Links to my Twitter will also be down below in the description down there. So go follow me on that for whenever I upload. And just for your basic Magic the Gathering Twitter person, whatever they typically do, that's pretty much what I do also. Just tweet about new cards that get spoiled when I upload, my opinions on Magic, and stuff like that. So if you feel like doing that and you have a Twitter, that'll be down in the description. If you're new to the channel, or if this is a returning video for you and you haven't already clicked the subscribe button, be sure to do that. I will be doing a giveaway at 100 subs. We're so close. I think we just got to 65 maybe, something like that. So we're getting there. We're getting there. That'll be a huge step for the channel. I appreciate you guys so much and all the stuff you do. So again, be sure to check the description for everything. Leave a like. That's a thumbs up. Leave a like. Subscribe if you want to come back. And that should do it. Be sure to yeah, do all that stuff, and I will see you guys next time.